Reverend Dr. King didn't envision the Poor People's Campaign as a charitable crusade. It wasn't a campaign for the poor. It was a campaign of the poor to awaken a broad mass movement to abolish poverty and to transform the whole society. The middle layers of society are the social base of the political power structure. They uphold and protect the cruelly unjust economic system that by its very nature produces poverty. They serve as the officer corps of the major institutions of power and influence such as the military, criminal justice and education systems, mass media, and the civic bureaucracy at all levels of government. The current chronic economic crisis is casting whole sections of these middle layers down into the ranks of the poor and the dispossessed. Because of the important role they've played for the power structure, this is a threat to the entire global capitalist economic and political system. It's a time of instability, and this downwardly mobile middle could be kept on the side of the existing powers that be to stabilize the system, or they could move closer to the emerging struggles of the poor and dispossessed to revolutionize the system. The side they take will determine whether or not poverty is abolished and society is transformed. Politicians in both major parties fight over who's really representing the interests of the middle class and whose policies are going to rebuild it. Both parties, along with other religious and ideological leaders, work on behalf of the rich and powerful to keep the critical mass of the middle from going over to the poor and dispossessed. On the other side, the poor, through their unity and organization, can win large sections of the middle. This is because most of them are as dispossessed as the poor. They too have no ownership or control over the economy or any security over their livelihood in life. Many in families with middle incomes have once in their lifetime experienced poverty and likely will again in the future. Many are just one paycheck or healthcare crisis away from the plight of the poor and the homeless. They're feeling increasingly insecure about their children's future. This is the major strategic significance that we see in Reverend Dr. King's idea for the Poor People's Campaign. He saw that the poor could lead the rest of the nation through a much-needed revolution of values, but only if they could unite across color lines and all other lines of division. He took up the task with deep commitment and clarity. Reverend King said, "I choose to identify with the underprivileged. I choose to identify with the poor. I choose to give my life for the hungry. I choose to give my life for those who have been left out. This is the way that I am going. If it means suffering a little bit, I'm going that way. If it means dying for them, I'm going that way." This goes directly against all the anti-poor propaganda that the American people have been subjected to for decades, which maintains that a poor person can only either be a criminal case or a charity case. The poor can be blamed and shamed, or they can be pitied. But no one, particularly from the middle class, should ever choose to identify as poor. In describing the poor, Reverend Dr. King went out of his way to highlight the fact that poverty crosses racial lines. The poor are, quote, both white and Negro. Poor Latinos, Asians, and American Indians also played leading roles in the Poor People's Campaign as it came together. There are people today who claim that, quote, white poverty and, quote, black poverty should be thought of as two different conditions. That, quote, poor whites and, quote, poor people of color are two fundamentally different groups who ought to be organized separately. Looking at the reality of America in 1967, Reverend Dr. King opposed that idea. He was clear about the necessity of the unity of the poor and dispossessed. He taught this message in his last speech. Quote, "You know, whenever Pharaoh wanted to prolong the period of slavery in Egypt, he had a favorite formula for doing it. What was that? He kept the slaves fighting among themselves. But whenever the slaves get together, something happens in Pharaoh's court, and he cannot hold the slaves in slavery. When the slaves get together, that's the beginning of getting out of slavery." He argued that the poor can unite as the poor no matter the different races and ethnicities. Being poor, having to struggle all the time for what you need to survive, was and is a shared experience for people living in a, quote, cruelly unjust society. The poor of all races have, quote, little or nothing to lose with the ending of the poverty-producing social system. The society Reverend Dr. King described wasn't just cruel economically. His criticism here excluded no part of society. Society was and is also cruelly unjust legally, politically, religiously, and racially. It's cruel in its treatment of women, children, queer people, and trans people, and disabled people. Its wars are cruel, as are its courts, prisons, schools, hospitals, nursing homes, mines, pipelines, and borders. It's the poor in all of their diversity who deal with the worst of that cruelty and injustice, in all its diversity. Uniting the poor, quote, both white and Negro, means uniting against all of this cruelty to strike at its roots. They must organize a revolution against that injustice, not against the lives of the persons who are their fellow citizens, but against the structures through which the society has refused to take measures which have been called for and which are at hand to lift the load of poverty. History has shown that the powers that be will by no means allow for the political unity of those on the bottom of the economic ladder. They have used and will continue to use any and every means to discredit, silence, imprison, and assassinate anyone who attempts, as Reverend Dr. King did, to, quote, help the poor to take action together. Myths like American exceptionalism, white supremacy, and male superiority have many of us, including many poor people, falsely believing that we have something to lose with the abolition of this inhumane poverty-producing system, when in fact, getting rid of this system opens the way for everyone to have everything to gain. At the end of the day, however, the economic and social position of the poor and dispossessed is such that the existing structures don't promise to let any of us, no matter our color, nationality, or gender, keep what little we have, and certainly don't have anything better in store for us. For Reverend Dr. King, the main requirement for the poor to lead was for them to unite. He pointed out that the poor could be helped to take action together, that they would do so with a freedom and a power capable of unsettling the complacency of the masses of the people, including large sections of the middle strata. Through becoming a social and political force united and organized across racial and other lines, the poor can move to the forefront of a broad movement for the emancipation and betterment of all humanity. Given all the ways that poor and dispossessed in America are shamed and locked up, isolated and divided, united action is as difficult to achieve as it is necessary. Exactly because the cruelly unjust nature of our society shows itself in such diverse ways, it takes real ideological effort to expose the connections between injustices, their shared roots in the structures of wealth and power that Reverend Dr. King referenced. Achieving the necessary unity and leadership of the poor requires the identification, education, and training of many leaders with clarity, competence, and commitment like that of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The text for this video was taken from A New and Unsettling Force, The Leadership of the Poor by Willie Baptist and Dan Jones.